So Judge Juan Merchan is delaying the inevitable. He should just throw it out by now. He should just throw it out. Donald Trump is the 47th president of the United States. He is president-elect, elected by the popular vote, by the delegates. He's got a giant mandate. Judge Juan Merchan should just cut his losses and go into hiding, throw out the case, beg for mercy from Donald Trump. He should say, please, sir, I'm really sorry for being a corrupt piece of garbage. Will you please have mercy on me? And Donald Trump should say, no, absolutely not. You go down into the deepest, darkest hole. No, I'm just kidding. I got a little bit carried away there. But yes, the case, the hush money case, the one that we all know, we all love, the hush money case. Judge Juan Merchan is delaying the ruling, and he is not going to rule on whether or not it will be thrown out due to the Supreme Court's ruling on presidential immunity. I believe eventually it will be, thrown out. I mean, I think it has to at this point, because the Supreme Court ruled that evidence that they put before the jury that had to do with Donald Trump's presidency, which would essentially be a part of Trump's official acts while he was president, they can't be used in a court of law because, it's part of the perks of being the president, right? If you're engaged in official acts, you can't be prosecuted for those official acts. And I believe some of the evidence that they showed the jury had to do with something like messages and text messages. And the argument from the DA's office, I believe at the time, I'm kind of thinking back, was that, well, these didn't have any, real effect on the case, and these didn't really have any real effect on the jury's decision. But, you could also make the argument that, how would you know? Can you go into a jury member's mind and see, what led to their decision? And I think if you wanted to do that, and if you could do that, rather, I think you would see that it was actually Judge Juan Merchan that led them to that decision. Because, as you know, Judge Juan Merchan wrote the jury instructions, and not only that, but he did not allow the jury to have the jury instructions when they went into deliberations. Anytime they had a question and needed to look at the jury instructions, they had to go to him personally and ask him the question, and he would explain the answer in context. So every single step of the way, Judge Juan Merchan had his thumb on the scale and literally steered this whole decision. But now Judge Juan Merchan is delaying the decision, whether the presidential immunity decision on this case. Take a look.
In President-elect Donald Trump's New York hush money case, just moments ago, Judge Juan Merchan announced he will delay making a decision on Trump's motion to set aside his guilty verdict and dismiss the case. Merchan was set to announce that decision today. Now he says he won't announce it until next week. Trump's team is arguing to throw out the guilty verdict, citing the Supreme Court ruling earlier this year that gave presidents immunity from prosecution for official acts. Let's bring in MSNBC legal correspondent Lisa Rubin and former federal prosecutor Barrett Berger. And so, Lisa, this just happened. What more are we learning about Judge Merchan's decision to postpone this?
So this is not a decision that Judge Merchan reached on his own. This is rather the parties came to him together and said that Trump's team had asked the district attorney's office whether they would agree to a stay, given constitutional concerns about sentencing a future president and a president-elect, particularly in light of the burdens of an upcoming presidential transition. And that's when the district attorney's office said, yeah, we agree. There are some competing interests here that have to be balanced. On one hand, we want to support the jury verdict. We believe that it was reached correctly. On the other hand, there are some legitimate concerns here dealing with the office of the president. And so we are asking you jointly to stay all deadlines in this case. We will come back to you. And it sounds like he has now said, I am going to stay these deadlines until November 19th. And you have to come back to me by 10 a.m. on November 19th, telling me your view, this is a quote from the order this morning, your view of the appropriate steps going forward. So
it's very interesting. All of a sudden, the parties are, logical, they're rational. The DA's office and Merchan, they're all falling in line. Donald Trump became president, and they're all falling in line one by one. This is not how it happened when they were going after Donald Trump. When this trial was in the middle of, when it was in the heat of battle. This is not what was going on whatsoever. Judge Juan Merchan was rude. He was slapping Donald Trump with gag orders over and over and over. He fined Donald Trump. He said that Donald Trump couldn't even talk about his own family, right? His family, like Lauren Merchan, who was making money off the trial. And now all of a sudden Donald Trump becomes president, and they're like, oh, okay, it's very, very good idea. We should, put a stay on this so we could think about the implications of sentencing a president-elect. Yeah, that might not be a very great idea. But another person that you might recognize is Michael Cohen. I just wanted to insert this into here because Michael Cohen, of course, he was the star witness, and oh, how the mighty have fallen. This is Michael Cohen. He's still doing his TikTok live streams. His TikTok live streams that are kind of, I think he has some sort of deal with Midas Touch or whatever. I don't know. Apparently he makes $400,000 a year, maybe, on these live streams. It's like a podcast. I remember that coming out in the transcripts during the Hush Money trial. But this is Michael Cohen. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Being trolled live on his TikTok live stream. And I don't know, just take a look, have a laugh.
No problem. Wow, genius you are. Can we stop with that? I appreciate it. I don't like the stupid turkeys. All right, let's just knock that stupid shit off, please. All right. I did. I said I was leaving, and then the following day, get that through your dumb heads. The following day, I turned around and I said that there's no chance in the world that I'm leaving my country. Thank you very much. All right. I'm not leaving anywhere. You leave. This is my country. And I have every right, every single right within which to turn around when we stop so we can. All right, 2 seconds, I'm going to end up blocking this idiot.
He looks miserable.
Wow.
He looks absolutely miserable. That was the star witness. Oh, they hinge their whole case on this guy. And you might think that sounds ridiculous, but it really doesn't even matter because the case was doomed from the start. They could have had anyone. They could have gotten a homeless person off the street to just make up stories. Someone that was high, home, drunk, whatever, to make up stories about Donald Trump, put him on the stand, and that wouldn't have mattered because of how Judge Juan Merchan steered the jury the entire time. It was pretty unbelievable to watch. I remember when that verdict came down, I was like, man, the American justice system is totally screwed. It's screwed. And then I kind of rethought that. I was like, maybe not the entire U.S. justice system. It might be kind of specifically on, New York and maybe some other hot spots like Fulton County. I don't know. Because it was pretty remarkable what happened there. And I believe it just kind of puts a spotlight on the fact that if you are in New York, you're not going to have a fair trial. I mean, there's a possibility that you could, but your politics will play a role in your trial. And it's kind of scary to think about that. I don't know how long New York has been this way. I think it's been corrupt for a long time. But that really blew me away because I covered that trial very closely. I have a whole album on my YouTube where I read through the transcript of what happened day to day in that trial. And when that verdict came down, I was like, wow, that's pretty amazing how corrupt New York City is. But what do you guys think? Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Like and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. But until then, I will see you on the next one.